Alright, so today I'll be presenting email messaging standards and protocols. So moving forward here, we have the introduction. So these are just a list of the email messaging standards and protocols that I will be discussing today. So we have the MIME, the SMTP, POP3, IMAP4, NNTP, and then the EAS Exchange Active Sync. Alright, so starting off, we have the MIME, otherwise known as the Multi-Purpose Internet Mail Extension. So the MIME is a standard which was proposed by Bell Communications in 1991 with hopes to expand limited capabilities of email. The MIME is a supplementary protocol which allows non-ASCII data to be sent through SMTP. Also, it allows the users of Exchange different kinds of data files on the internet, such as audio, video, images, application programs, and others. Moving on to the purpose and the functionality of MIME. It transforms non-ASCII data at a sender side to NVT 7-bit data, and also it delivers it to the client SMTP. The message at the receiver side is transferred back to the original data. Also, with MIME, you can send video and audio data using MIME as it transfers them also into a 7-bit ASCII data. Moving on finally to the features of MIME. It's able to send multiple attachments with a single message. There's unlimited message length, which can be very beneficial. And then binary attachments are another feature, which includes executables, images, audio, or video files. And also, these may be divided if necessary. And then finally, it provides support for varying content types and multi-part messages. Alright, moving on now, we have SMTP, which is otherwise known as the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. So this is basically the standard protocol for sending emails across the internet. By default, the SMTP protocol works out of 3 ports. As you can see, the first one is port 25, which is the default SMTP non-encrypted port. Secondly, we have port 2525, which is opened on all SiteGround servers, just in case port 25 is filtered. And you want to send non-encrypted emails with SMTP. And then port 465, this is the port that is used if you want to send messages using SMTP securely. So moving on here, SMTP is part of the application layer of the TCP/IP protocol. Using a process called store and forward, SMTP moves your email on and across networks. Also, it works closely with something that's called Mail Transfer Agent, MTA, to send your communication to the right computer and email inbox. SMTP spells out and directs how your email moves from your computer's MTA to an MTA on another computer and even several computers. So moving on, now we have some limitations of the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. It has a very simple structure. Its simplicity, however, comes with a price, as it only sends a message in an NVT 7-bit ASCII format. Also, it cannot be used for languages that do not support the 7-bit format, such as French, German, Russian, Chinese, and Japanese. So in other words, it cannot be transmitted using SMTP. So in order to make the SMTP more broad, you can use the MIME. And then also, it cannot be used to send binary videos or file or audio data, such as the MIME offers. So that'll be it for the SMTP. Moving on to the Post Office Protocol 3. So this is the most recent version of a standard protocol for receiving emails. It's a client/server protocol in which email is received and held for you by the internet server. This standard protocol is built into most popular email products. For example, Eudora, and Outlook Express. Also, it's built into the NetSpace and Microsoft Internet Explorer web browsers. POP3 is designated to delete mail on the server as soon as the user has downloaded it. However, some implementations allow users or an administrator to specify that mail be saved for some period of time. POP can be thought of as store and forward services. An alternative protocol can be Internet Message Access Protocol. This provides users with more capabilities for retaining email on the server and also for organizing it in folders on the server. IMAP can be thought of as more of a remote file server. So moving on now, we have the IMAP4, otherwise known as Internet Mail Access Protocol, V4. So this protocol is an internet standard for storing and retrieving messages from Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, SMTP, hosts. Internet Mail Access Protocol version 4 provides functions similar to the POP3, but with some additional features. So moving on to how it works through providing the underlying message transport mechanism for sending email over the internet, but it does not provide any facility for storing and retrieving messages. The SMTP hosts must be continuously connected to one another, but most users do not have a dedicated connection to the internet. And then as you can see, I'll go over several of the IMAP4 commands. So first you have list, which is retrieves a list of folders in the client's mailbox. Select, which will allow you to select a particular folder to access its messages. Fetch, which retrieves individual messages. And then logout, which ends the IMAP4 session. And then some additional features of IMAP4 includes access multiple folders, including public folders. You can create hierarchies of folders for storing messages. Also, you can leave messages on the server after reading them. You can search mailboxes for specific messages to download. You can flag messages as read. And finally, you can selectively download portions of messages or specified attachments. And then to retrieve a message from the IMAP4 server, the client will first establish a TCP session using TCP port 143. And then that's when the following the commands list, select, fetch, and logout will be implemented. All right, moving on, we have the NNTP, or Network News Transfer Protocol. So the NNTP is the protocol that's used to connect to Usenet servers and transfer newsgroup articles between systems over the internet. It's very similar to the SMTP protocol, which is used for sending email messages, although the difference is it is designed specifically for newsgroup articles. Furthermore, it enables both server and client server communication. It can, like, for example, it can communicate with each other and replicate news groups among each other. This is how the Usenet network is created and maintained. In the client server model, the NNTP allows a client system to connect to a Usenet server and also provides commands for browsing and viewing articles on the server. So then, as you can see listed here, I will go into some of the commands that's supported by NNTP. So article, it'll allow you to retrieve an article from a Usenet server. Group, you'll be able to select a specified news group. I have will tell the server the client has an article it may want. List will retrieve a list of the news groups available through the server. And then news groups, you'll receive a list of news groups created after a specific date and time. New news, you'll receive a list of articles created after a specific date and time. And then next and post, with next, you'll go to the next message in the news group. And with post, you'll be able to post or apply a message to an existing one. And then finally, to wrap it up, in most cases, these and other NNTP commands, they're handled automatically in the newsreader software. Newsreaders use these commands to communicate with Usenet servers and provide a graphical user interface for browsing and viewing articles on the server. Alright, and then lastly, I added in here the Exchange account, EAS, Exchange Active Sync. So this is used by Exchange servers such as Microsoft Exchange. Not only does this sync mail, but it also syncs contacts, calendars, notes, and pretty much everything in Outlook. One major advantage is that users can have a synced copy of the calendar and contacts over multiple devices. So Exchange Active Sync will also allow users to continue to access information while they're working offline. And then standard encryption services also have added security to mobile communication with the server. So several additional features of the Exchange Active Sync are support for HTML messages, support for follow-up flags, conversation grouping through email messages, and then you can synchronize or not synchronize entire conversations. Also, there's support for viewing messages reply status. There's PIN reset, enhanced Exchange server, and then meeting attendee information. All right, so in conclusion, this just is really a solid list of the important messaging standards and protocols. So just to wrap it up here, a protocol is about a standard method used at each end of the communication channel in order to support properly supported transmit information. In order to deal with your email, you must use a mail client to access a mail server. The mail client and the mail server can exchange information with each other using these variety of protocols. And then some key points to take away from this presentation. SMTP is an application level protocol. It's also a connection oriented protocol. It handles exchange of messages between an email service server over TCP IP network. Apart from transferring email, SMPT also provides notification regarding incoming email. And then when you send an email, your email client sends it to your email server, which further contacts the recipient mail server using the SMTP client. So these are just a couple of key points, and I'll wrap it up. Thank you. And here are my references for this presentation.